Yo, can you hear me? Hey, can you hear me now? Okay, I'm back on stream. I'm back on the stream, but Discord won't let me connect. So, Porcelain, if you're seeing this, give me a second. I'm gonna have to restart Discord. Dude, I don't know what the hell just happened. Kind of pisses me off too because now it's like two separate. I hate that. I fucking hate that. Whatever. James. Not intentional. All right, let's see here. I was worried that was going to be some maintenance bullshit. They pulled that on me before. They do fucking maintenance at like 2 a.m. They make it last till 3 a.m. They've done that to me before. Loading up Discord now. And something's just acting funky. I don't know necessarily what or which one it is, but I think we're going to be good after this. Hey, there we go.
Hey. Hey.
There we go.
Yeah, I paused the side tube for like basically where we left off.
Oh, cool. Oh, who is? Oh, because I didn't have leader. Did it actually hand you off leader?
Oh no, I just took leader like when I saw you having some trouble.
Oh yeah.
Took it back.
You got admin, yeah. Triple crown. Yeah, we'll probably keep going a little bit here. Finish.
OP is messing with your network connection.
That's what it is. I might have a virus, a worm.
I mean, I've been accused of taking money from OP, all kinds of things. So I don't think it'd be OP at the back of his modem with a pair of pliers. More likely to be certain gastropodic shaped individual.
Just as I was exposing OP for basically selling someone else's content license, I get taken fucking Philly crew.
The whole Philly crew around the back of your fucking apartment or whatever.
So where we left off.
Stupid fucking thing.
Fucking dick. All right, so where we left off was Jim. Now we're starting to see the worm come out to roost. So Jim,
yeah, we've seen he's done the $60,000 fugitive, which is probably the biggest thing until now. I wanted to like transcend from that, go from that to kind of like some more of throwing under the bus, that kind of thing, because that's been kind of like betrayal is kind of the theme with Anthony and Jim, and now we're going to see with obviously with Louis and shit. But
yeah, so you're right. So it's all about that loyalty. And I used to think Jim was so incredibly loyal, almost to a fault. Around that Joe DeRosa beef, I thought Jim was I was like, holy shit, this guy's got his back to the end. Like, he's not budging. I'm moving. And then now I'm like, oh, Jesus, where'd that go?
Like, I don't necessarily blame Jim for, like, in a way, it's easy to blame him for, like, not sticking by Anthony, but in another way, it's serious. It's going into the unknown. But I think, given, like, the hindsight we've got from how he dealt with the Louis thing, how he dealt with when OP left, and a number of other things, you start seeing a trend, and you start seeing, like, a pattern of behavior where it's not actually that he was like in any way vindicated for sticking around anywhere, really. It's just that he's totally scared of change, and he just doesn't. He's very lazy, and he doesn't want to take a chance at something good. He'd rather fester and rot in an environment that's just bad for him than take a chance. And more with the Louis thing, the reason, like, I think Say and Z said this, like that he was watching it, and the minute it hit the Amy Schumer section, he felt like, oh, why is Porsalin talking about it? Suddenly the documentary just goes and talks about Amy Schumer thing. It's like, I didn't think that needed a lot of like a lot of kind of fucking like understanding really. It was there to contrast directly against how he dealt with Louis, that he's dealt with Louis in a very different way than he dealt with Amy. So yeah, that was the only reason that was there.
Remember that guy? He's like the Indian guy or something who got in trouble for this stuff. He's like a comedian, the Indian comedian.
Yeah. I know that.
I was so pissed off the way he treated that guy versus Louis. I'm like, this guy is like actually like physical. If you want to break it down and keep score, this guy's physically like coming on to somebody, like grabbing them and shit, and trying to do a bunch of stuff. Louis asked permission, and he didn't touch
Russell
anybody.
Peters, yeah, that's it.
And I actually don't really believe the part where they say that he was blocking the door. I think that's just made up.
There's no actual story, like no real stories that have got the whole thing. Like the New York, sorry, what was the story that Louis said was all correct? What I think is, I can't remember what it is, but that's a story that and it didn't have any of that shit in it. It was just Louis asking if he could do it. Some of the girls said yes, some of the girls said no, and perhaps some of the girls said yes out of fear or out of kind of like whatever. But the fact that Louis not in prison tells you pretty much everything. It tells you that it's not necessarily nice behavior, but it's certainly not illegal.
Yeah, all they could call it was misconduct.
Yeah, it's misconduct. It's and again, it's like what Bill Burr said that I've put in this, where Bill Burr said like it's crazy how there's not a spectrum in sexual assault like there is in like murder, where you got like assault, and then you got murder, and then you got like mass. It's like that spectrum doesn't exist with sex. The minute you do anything sexual, you're a rapist. You're completely the extreme of the example. And the fact that like, just finally, the thing with Louis C.K. is it's not that Jim didn't defend him. Like he definitely gave both sides, but that's the problem, I think, in that. With Amy Schumer, Jim was very pro. I support her to the point of ignoring a lot of the evidence. And okay, I only showed the videos of like talking about the like the sex acts and stuff, which people can say, well, that's just a normal thing. But there's a whole video of other like times where Amy Schumer has plagiarized material. But the fact of the matter is, Jim played the Louis C.K. thing right down the middle to the point where it was like a reaction from somebody that completely neutral to Louis C.K. Jim's supposed to be Louis C.K.'s really good friend, and he had many outs that he could have like picked an out. He could have gone like, look, Louis is a really good friend of mine. I owe a lot to Louis C.K. So I will always like. I know that people are not going to like it, but I will never throw someone under the bus like Louis C.K. I don't like what he did, but I don't want to, he could have like gave himself an out, but instead he had to also go the other side, and he had to kind of like reinforce the same nonsense, the same things about power dynamics and shit like that the left are trying to like force feed people. So it's the fact that he approached it like a neutral, to almost this clinical kind of like non-caring about Louis C.K. And
weird.
You've listened to, you know what, dude, and Bill Burr and stuff, like they didn't do that.
You're right.
They at least gave Louis a lot of wiggle room, whereas Jim didn't.
Yep. Yeah. It just comes down to him being scared. He's scared. He doesn't think he could handle, everyone hitting him with the Twitter, fuck you, that kind of stuff. I just think he doesn't think he can handle it. And it's kind of wormy, I guess, too. But yeah, I understand like where he's coming from. Obviously, I'm not. There's nothing like that I could compare into my life to be what he's dealing with. But again, you can still use other examples, like you said, Burr and stuff. So,
and of course, if we see anything from like what we're seeing with Norm, obviously there's a reason for Jim to be fearful for that. But at the same time, dude, his really good friend just got everything taken away from him in a day. And the fact that he almost came across as unfeeling towards that perspective out of fear of what people could say about him. To me, it's not good enough. I don't think his response was anywhere near good. He deserves better. I think Louis done so much for Jim Norton that He absolutely deserves better than that. And if it means that Jim's uncomfortable for a few weeks, if it means that the spotlight's on him for a bit, it's the least Jim can do for Louis. Absolutely least he can do for him. As a thank you, Louis, for putting me on your show. Thank you, Louis, for giving me a fucking television career. Like, come on, dude.
Seriously. Yeah. It was. I don't know. I always thought in my head, like, did Louis talk to Jim on the phone and tell him to just do all this? Because
Well,
I couldn't do that without having your friend's blessing and your friends kind of in on it. But I don't think that.
That's a good point, though.
I don't know. Maybe it did. Certainly didn't happen with Burr, and Burr covered him. So
it's a good point that Louis might have contacted and was just like, "Look, Jim, whatever you need to do, whatever you need to say, like, don't worry about me. It's fine and stuff." But even so, man, if it was in my position, you bat for your friend. You do something for him. You don't just treat him as if you're presenting a fucking CNN nightly show. Like, it's not the same thing. What you're and people will forgive you, Jim, because they know that he's your friend. They'll give you a certain allowance for that. You're not just some other comedian chiming in. You're talking about your friend here. People expect that you might not necessarily be right down the middle with it, and they'll give you leeway with that. Maybe not a lot, but they'll at least understand.
Yes, totally. Well, let's continue, and now we go right into that part.
Ian's righteous grandstanding culminated with Jim offering sympathies to the women involved in a cheap attempt to align himself with
Sorry, are you watching this
social
on
justice trends.
On the TEF?
In the room, or the person's looking at.
Can you hear? SciTube/r/Teft. You're not picking
I
it
just
up?
need to refresh. I need to refresh it. That was it.
Oh,
Sorry, that's my bad.
I have to actually probably refresh too, because the leader thing doesn't say I have the leader. I'll refresh too.
Their yes may be tainted with uncomfortable.
The suddenly sensitive
Paul, and they're young and eager to work.
All right, so we're
bring
about,
to Louis' defense.
And I would never, ever fucking publicly throw one of my fucking friends who took care of me under the bus, even if I wanted to disagree publicly with what he said.
Yeah, we just heard him say he'll never throw his friend under the bus.
Jim would instead dedicate hours of the show castigating his Lucky Louie benefactor, suggesting that his actions were a serious problem in such hypersensitive times.
But to me, that one, the HBO one, is a problem as well, dude. It's not just the one, not just the hotel room, because you're at work, even though she gave her consent, it's like you're at work, and if you're above someone on the totem pole, like if you're a fucking intern.
That's it has a question for you.
Yeah, but Porsalin, what if Jimmy was in the same room with Louis, also joking, and doesn't want to press his luck first time around? Completely not doing this.
I don't even get what picture are you painting here? It's humiliating.
I know,
for Jim,
yeah.
right?
Doesn't want to...
Feel bad for Norm. They took. Oh yeah. Maybe we can get to that after. We
Yeah.
I'm down. All right.
I'm down for that.
The hotel room, because you're at work, even though she gave her consent, it's like you're at work, and if you're above someone on the totem pole, like if you're a fucking intern and you ask the executive producer if you can jerk off.
Oh, real quick, then we'll go straight back into it. But yeah, someone absolutely told him he needs to apologize. They called him. Netflix called him. I would bet so much money on it. Called him and said, like, okay, we're not gonna cancel the show. Not gonna hit you with that, but it's contingent on you writing an apology publicly. Twitter, they probably told him where to fucking write it. Like, they definitely did.
They probably said, "Look, it's not a problem right now, and we can fix it right now. But if we don't deal with it now, then it could be a problem for if you want to do any more of this stuff. If you don't want this stuff to just vanish from it, it could be a problem later on. So you've got a So I think they got to him to a degree. It's a bit sad, especially seeing him on The View. That wasn't a nice moment.
Weird. I'll turn. All right, I got you, Bailey. That's actually my Discord in general.
Yeah, the minute like Lance or Bick turn up in voice chat, you end up like having to balance everybody else out.
Yeah. Oh.
Like a mixing effort then.
Back into
off in front of her and she says yes, that's different.
That's terrific.
Because she's the boss and you've got a great game. But if you're above someone on the totem pole and they're young and eager to work there, you got to understand their yes may be tainted with uncomfortable.
The suddenly sensitive comedian's righteous grandstanding culminated with Jim offering sympathies to the women involved, in a cheap attempt to align himself with fashionable social justice trends.
In the room or the person's looking at you and you're in the presence of a person who you admire, it is a little bit scarier.
Yeah.
And if they're higher up on the ladder than you, I don't think it's for career advancement. I don't think it's, hey, I'll let him jerk off and I'll go places so you're selling yourself out. I think it's, I'm uncomfortable and I'm scared that there's going to be a repercussion. And it's like, here's what I hope. I hope that he addresses it at least, and I hope that with these, I feel bad for the people it happened to. And I'm not saying that just because you're supposed to say it. I really do. It's got to be uncomfortable if there's somebody you admire and they, like it's a work situation.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, I love this guy. Oh no, it's that.
And
you're not into it.
Some of the more telling quotes from Norton included an admission that we don't want to believe that we've been so wrong about a person.
Oh my god, dude, that is just extra. That is extra.
Yeah.
That's like what that Tay or Tig Notaro, that's like that level almost.
Yeah.
Of just being so shitty. Ugh.
Yeah, if Sarah Silverman tweeted that, I would be like, dude, that's really fucked up, but you kind of, you're Sarah Silverman.
Yeah,
but
wrong about a person. You just, he just took it from like Louis made bad decisions and he screwed up, he was in a bad place. He just took it into his core of his human being. What a fucked up thing
also
to do.
Also the worminess to not only address it on your show, but then to like, to just placate these journalists left, right, and center to get your opinion. Like, dude, just if you've not got anything positive to say to Louis, just stay quiet. Just you've addressed it already. Just fucking don't add to the noise. Don't sit there and add to that noise because it's not fair.
Right.
If you're not going to defend him, the best thing you can do, second best thing you can do is stay quiet, stay out of it.
Yeah, exactly. You said your piece, not go to fucking magazines and shit. It's like
instead he's saying that you don't want to. That first of all, he was wrong about Louis, and that he won't work with Louis unless it's the right circumstances. It's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? You're just burying the guy further down. It's worse because now they're saying this is Jim Norton, former co-star and friend of Louis, and this is the shit he's saying. It's like, dude, you're making it worse. You're making it far worse for the guy.
Yeah.
I can only assume Louis, like you said earlier, Louis said to Jim and was like, look, whatever you need to do, just do it. I'll be fine.
And if
because
not, we'll never see
this.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying, if that didn't happen, we'll never see Louis around this show or around Jim again. He really went extra. So.
When asked if he would ever consider working with the shamed comedy Smith again, Jim responded by maintaining that he doesn't see that opportunity arising for a long time, and that it would have to be under the right circumstances. These were seen as unusual sentiments given his previous desperation to associate with the excessively demonized CK. In another interview, this time with Metro, Jim claims his close friend had effed up, and further defended the alleged victims, calling Louis' act a terrible and uncomfortable thing to have to deal with. He continues by reinforcing a popular feminist idea of power dynamic, before claiming to be the victim of a premeditated deceit at Louis' cold hands. It could be easily argued that Jim's sentiments are mostly fair, but to his detractors, Norton's allegiance ought to have been to his fairy godfather at his time of need. After all, Louis had gifted the SiriusXM host a career in television, so Jim's yielding to the fanatical movement was deeply troubling. This was further magnified by Bill Burr's strong defense of Louis C.K.'s sexual misadventures.
Somebody just, clickbait. Clickbait just asked if you can do an American accent, dude. What do you think?
I think we all know that the one really
He's famous for one.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not very good at American accents other than that stupid thing. I can't do it. It's very hard.
Have you ever seen this? It's like an Italian American guy. He's really Italian. Oh, so he knows. He knows.
Yeah, let me try. I probably might be able to blag one. I don't know. I don't. I've never tried to. I can't. Actually, I'm doing it in my head. I can't really do it. In fact, the weird thing is, I can actually do one. Bix heard it. I can do a really good Bobcat Goldthwait, but only after prepping myself for some reason. My brain lets me do Bobcat Goldthwait, and that's about it.
Nice. All right, let's jump on back in.
And it doesn't seem to be like there's any sort of like, in the judicial system where there's like, if you steal a bike, you get this sentence. If you rob a bank, you get this. If you kill somebody, if you kill a whole bunch of people, all the way up to the death penalty. Yeah, this kind of seems like it's become, it doesn't make a difference if it's sexual misconduct all the way to sexual assault / rape. You're getting the exact same level of punishment.
Meanwhile, fat piece of shit Robert Kelly added to the support of Louis alongside Puerto Rican podcast mogul Luis J. Gomez.
Nobody feels bad for Louis because his monetary
You have a surfer accent?
of boats and houses and money. We feel bad for Louis because emotionally he's in a fucked up place.
I'm back.
He's got kids.
But, a surfer accent. Oh yeah, I did do that. Yeah, but
Dude. Hang 10, brah. That's just me saying different words at the end of the sentence. That's not an accent. So, all right. So what
I'll build myself up to it. I'll
surprises.
Probably bomb,
all right, go right there.
That piece of shit Robert
Yeah,
Kelly
keep going.
added to the support
Piece
of
of
Louis
shit.
alongside Puerto Rican
Fat piece
podcast
of shit,
mogul Luis
Robert
J.
Kelly.
Gomez.
Nobody feels bad for Louis because his monetary shit of boats and houses and money. We feel bad for Louis because emotionally he's in a fucked up place. He's got kids. He's got a family.
Well, the world is piling on top.
The world piled on top of him and are putting him with rapists and pedophiles, which he does not belong in, and he can't do anything about this. But we haven't heard his side. You don't know the nuances of these conversations. What happened with those girls? So you're saying that he said, "Well, go back to my room." They walked up to the room, no conversation. Got to the room, he got naked. They left. Fuck you.
Dude, if you go back to a man's hotel room, I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck. If this is for young men and women. If you go back to a dude's hotel room, let me explain to you something. He's trying to fuck you.
Fans were quick to identify the
You
stark
gotta love
disparity
Lewis.
of reaction between the controversy
yeah.
surrounding his
He
close
just
friend
doesn't.
and
Yeah.
accusations
He's like
of
obscure
joke
enough
theft.
to not give a fuck as well, which is great.
Yeah, like I wanted to hate him. I did hate him at first, and then I'm just like, I fucking love this dude. He's just a fucking. He's a brute.
Yeah, man.
It's great.
Aimed at current media darling Amy Schumer. Norton took a remarkably more measured approach to the comedian's flagrant plagiarism of Jim's dearly departed comrade Patrice O'Neill.
And I'm literally gonna take a polygraph test and put it on my show this season. And
That
I
ever
promise
happened? I
whatever
don't
the
think
results
so.
are, I won't let them cut.
No,
I will
no, absolutely.
show that I had
Absolutely
never seen Patrice do that bit.
Not to mention how obscure it would be on Inside Amy Schumer, where every episode is like random fucking like lie detector test, and the audience like,
Yeah.
what's going on here?
Yeah.
And it's like in the credits after, Amy conducted a lie detector test to prove that she wasn't stealing jokes. And it's like, well, that's weird.
Yeah, you're right. It would the act of doing it would almost just be weird enough that it wouldn't even matter if you like won the thing or not.
I'll do my Bobcat Goldthwait, by the way, if I can do it. It's like people in New York have been so friendly. It really helps because I'm so depressed. Like that's kind of half of it.
How did it's so like your whole voice, everything about it just changed. Like all the features of your vocal sound were just gone, and a new person was there. That's so weird. That's good voiceover stuff. It's good. Yeah, people said it was pretty good.
I don't like. I was in with Bick, and Bick was talking about Bobcat, and I just like thought about him, and my brain was just like, yeah, you can sound like him if you want. I was like, okay, I'll give it a go. But it's a really useless thing to be able to do. So.
You make the boomers super happy, and then
I can move over from 100% Italian to like a Bobcat Goldthwait podcast or something. I guess that's the only thing I've come up with.
Right. Yeah, all these people in chat probably are like, I know Bobcat Goldthwait, like I kind of have a sense of who he is. But you go one generation up, and they're like, fucking Bobcat. That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I still remember the old Police Academy stuff when I was a kid and shit. So like, I've got a soft spot for Bobcat.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
That's it. You come in her face, right, and then take some pubic hair and throw it at her.
There's the Abraham Lincoln. That's where the guy trims his pubes, comes on the girl's face, and then throws the pubes so she has that facial hair.
You have a poltergeister? Poltergeist is good. Well, you need your friend, though, right? Like, you're fucking her from behind, and then you sneak out, and he takes your place, and then you walk outside and wave at her through the window. And then you go, I'm here.
The worst one I've ever heard is the Houdini, which is where the guy's having sex with the girl from behind. Then unbeknownst to her, his friend subs in for him. Guy number one runs outside, knocks on the window, waves to the girl.
Schumer's staunch denials were significantly weakened by her earlier kleptomaniacal behavior following admissions of
That's the one
petty
thing about
theft
these jokes
in
as well,
local
is that
department.
I know that like the ones that I've shown are like old sort of like Urban Dictionary or whatever the fucking source is.
And
it was more to do with the fact like there are other jokes, there are accounts of the jokes that she stole, but I just wanted to like add the Patrice thing into it as well, just to kind of like. But I think the as far as like the stories and stuff that I read, most of the like Amy Schumer joke stealing stuff were more to do with like some of the female comics and stuff, and then some of the stuff that appeared on inside Amy Schumer, and less so much. I don't think there was a big outcry as big an outcry for the Patrice stuff, because there was a general acceptance that like, okay, yeah, but these are just like the jokes that a lot of people tell about sex things. But I would have included the other ones, but I just wanted to add the Patrice slant on it. And it's not necessarily like, oh yeah, she definitely stole the Patrice ones. It's that like Amy Schumer has stole jokes. You can go away and find out more. You can find out the other things that she took. I just used Patrice as a dumb example.
No, I get it though. You're also like trying to tie it into like O&A people too. But,
yeah. It was to feed the narrative about like the fact that like Jim should care because it's Patrice O'Neill as well.
Right.
Whereas in reality, I could have picked much better examples that were like harder to defend. I could have picked a number of the other jokes that she stole, but
I get you. You're saying you're not really necessarily setting out to prove it. Most people who will watch this already like they don't even need to have it argued. Like they know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Stores.
Like, I mean, it was just naming sex terms like that anybody could know. Like, I like learning new ones, so I would have the audience tell me one. And the Houdini is the worst one that I heard, and I'd never ever heard Patrice do that. I would never steal a joke from anyone, let alone someone that I loved so much.
Amy chose Jim Norton's endlessly repetitive advice show to address these allegations, blaming a succession of parallel thoughts taken out of context. For 53 minutes, Jim ceded the floor, affording Amy a platform to control the narrative. In the aftermath, Norton was left once again fielding angry callers on the Jim and Sam show, with listeners claiming he treated Schumer with kid gloves.
Why are you being so hypocritical with Amy?
How am I being hypocritical with Amy?
You let her go on your show yesterday, and she just sat there, and you never called her out on anything.
What was it? I don't agree with the fact that she stole the stuff. I know people are angry that I've taken that position, and I know they think that I've taken that position. just because I want to get, but
Because
a lot
you're
of other,
friends with her and
Yeah,
all
but a lot
that.
of other people have taken that position too.
Have you not?
I genuinely, you understand what I'm saying? I believe her, and she wanted to come on my show, and she's been a friend of mine. Like saying that I'm doing this just because she's famous. I know her long before she's famous. I treat her the way I would treat any other of my close friends.
Jim's decision to stand with Amy served as a fascinating case study in maintaining celebrity relationships. Louis was ceremoniously ousted from the entertainment industry, and his ability to help Jim was significantly diminished. Meanwhile, freshly body-positive Schumer has seen her career bloat to whale-like proportions.
DJ, hit it.
Regrettably for
God, she's
Jim,
gross.
there would be little
That's
respite
really
in the
just
worm's personal
so
life.
obnoxious.
As a 50-year-old closeted bachelor with no recognisable shape, Jim's romantic options were rapidly diminishing. Norton's peculiar taste in women, men and everything in between had rendered the ageing performer undateable to his preferred demographic of the young and attractive.
Yeah, Christmas morning we get to wake up alone again and look at no tree, no presents. Oh yeah, it's a wonderful life. Get to have another escort come over and do nothing, and your dick doesn't work, and you're like, why am I doing this? I just want to hug someone. Can someone just love me? I ask you cunts out to lunch, not even the courtesy of a response. Why do you get hookers? I don't know.
'Cause
you
you're 50
fucking
years
cunts,
old,
'cause I
Jim,
ask
and
you
they're
out to lunch and you don't
21.
get back to me. That's why.
Jim's bitterness to
A lot of people will say that Jim is not really an addict and that he's not like faking all that, or not faking it, but he's just kind of playing it up, and he's never even tried. But I actually do think that he probably is definitely an addict, and maybe he just caught himself early, because look
Right.
at how the way that his sex life has gone. It's the only addiction he allows himself to have, because obviously, it's the only like dopamine rush, risk reward system that he allows himself to have, because he kind of has to. And look at where he's taken it. He's taken it to that level of just like doing the most gruesome shit. And he's like basically, he wore his entire sort of like ability to have affection and have a normal two-person relationship, man woman, like he just destroyed it, and that's the only addiction he's allowed to have. So maybe he would really fucking his life up if he got on alcohol or even weed, or who knows.
I think so. I only think that he's like a man of compulsions, and I think like he takes things to excess, like his vices he takes to excess. So I think you're probably right in a sense that like, caught it early. And to me, that's not the joke. I'm not saying
it's
he's not an
meme.
addict. It's the extent of which he equates his addiction and the problems that he had with the likes of. When the one big one was when he was in that thing with Artie and Rich Voss. Now, Rich Voss performed sex acts for a fix. Artie stabbed himself with bleach, and it's the idea that Jim's here. And when I said about that Jim stopped drinking because he caused a little bit of like mischief in his late teens. I think like that's obviously hyperbole, but to a degree, it's also like I think when to earn that badge of honor of addict, of someone that's getting over a really addiction that has like basically like ruined your life. Jim never sunk to those depths, in my opinion, or at least from what I've heard of him. Like fair play to him that he caught something early that might have ended up getting there, but I don't think he can sit there and talk with the same authority as a lot of actual addicts do. Like Greg Giraldo died, for fuck's sake. Like you haven't pushed yourself, Jim. Not that you should, but you've never been pushed to those levels of addiction where
I would agree. Yeah,
Artie and Rich Voss, where your life has been completely like obsessed by it. So that's the only thing. I'm not saying he didn't have the potential to become an addict or that he had a problem already. It's just that it's how he equates his issues and his problems to everybody else, and it's just annoying.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And when I brought that up, I was kind of like referring more to the meme itself, because I know,
Oh, okay.
I obviously know what you're doing. And that's like it's I
Yeah,
fucking
man.
loved it. But there is that some people will take the meme, they'll do jokes, they'll do trolling and stuff. But I think some people take it super seriously, and that's my only opinion. Is that I actually do think, but whatever, it's all good. Shim.
Towards rejection.
There's been some really good freeze frames for these discussions.
There's one earlier. We talk about like Jim's blinking, and there's a freeze frame earlier that wasn't. It was just a picture of the studio, and like his eyes are like so fucked up. Like it was literally a freeze frame of him like mid blink, where like only one of his eyes is actually doing what it should be doing. Very weird eyes.
Yeah.
Well known to listeners, especially following a bizarre rant against a former intern who had rejected his sexual advances, claiming he was too old.
Yeah, I was just wondering if
The fake relapse was really funny.
Dana? I think you should
Sorry.
do it. You're getting.
He was too old.
Yeah, I was just wondering if I could ask Dana to marry me.
Dana? I think you should do it. You're getting old, and I don't
How old
like...
is he? Sounds old.
I'm 39.
Oh, hell no. You and Jim Norton should go out together.
How old is this fucking plain Jane? How old is this fucking straight-haired average bitch, plain Jane? Who the fuck do you think you are? You fucking average broad. Oh boy. You fucking mediocre average intern broad. Fucking bagel fetcher. Fuck you.
Bagel fetcher.
Such a lack of self-awareness would be further underscored during his short relationship to Icelandic
this is a disgrace.
transsexual Princess Alina. Jim met the 5'11" pre-op cam girl on the X-rated streaming platform Chatterbait. Having earned the title of Prince following excessive token donations, Jim paid his way into Alina's inner circle. It was during these more intimate exchanges that Jim mistook her fiscally driven civility to a paying customer as a serious relationship.
Wound up going to some lovely restaurants. Niagara Falls. We did a little sightseeing in Niagara
This is
Falls.
so embarrassing.
It was nice. It's romantic. Look at you. A little romantic.
Oh my god!
Hey, look,
yeah.
I wanted to go to Niagara Falls with a dear, lovely friend. So
Is
we went.
she taller than you?
But you bet she is.
My sister-in-law, her
Yeah,
husband.
she's
Oh yeah, dude.
She's taller than me.
Looks like that scene from Deuce Bigelow when you walking down the street.
I'm a little fella.
That's a huge bitch. You hear shit? No, she's not that big.
No, she's 5'11".
The foundation of the
Sarah
imagined
Walken
relationship was one of financial exchange. Not only would Jim fly the 21-year-old sex worker to Amsterdam and Toronto at his expense, he would further boast of buying the Icelandic princess expensive new shoes.
Some guys are into that. He likes her to wear like really high heels and stuff, so he goes around with this. So my sister-in-law looks like some kind of like Amazon on his arms.
You know, it's funny.
What is that about?
She usually wears flats when we're together just because I'm a fucking shrimp and she's probably humiliated.
Yeah.
But I bought her shoes this weekend and I was going to get her flats, but she found some she liked with the heel that looked great.
Yeah.
So I bought them for her and she was taller. Even I was like, I don't care. The fuck do I care?
The supposed relationship became an inside joke to his friends and fellow comedians, with regular Jim and Sam guests Kevin Brennan, Louis J. Gomez, and Mark Norm all reacting to a parody Princess Alina Twitter accounts. After months of living out this absurd fantasy, Norton's amorous delusions were abruptly ended, after finding out his sweet princess was arranging to meet other princes.
It's something about myself that I like with this woman is I've been honest with her. Like, I'm a liar.
By the way, this is also...
I lie, I cheat, I'm
hang on, I'll let him
despicable.
finish, but-
And then I feel victimized if you lie to me or cheat on me. But with this girl, I was straight. And I think she was pretty straight with me, too. She's young. She's not perfect. You know, and I have to realize that people make mistakes, too. Like, you got to give people room to fuck up.
Yeah,
not a
you
devastating
made
fuck
the
up, but
mistake.
she
You made
fucked
it.
up. And she talked to someone she wasn't supposed to talk to. And she might have been willing
I think
to hang
her
out with
business
them, I don't
model is
know.
talking to these people. I think
Yeah,
she's
right.
supposed to talk to
Jim,
them.
Jim,
That's how she
yeah.
puts money on her.
And by the way, really quick. All right, so we're at 58:19. This also happened around that same time.
At 4 o'clock in the morning, Jim
Oh, God
Norton
damn it.
did an Instagram live video in which he
Come
was
on,
Instagram
saying.
at 4 in the morning.
Oh God.
You got the audio
this
for
kid
me?
does little-
No, he doesn't.
Sister.
I'm
Son
sure.
of a bitch, dude. This was when he was starting to make these weird, like, these, like, half jokes about suicide. Like, getting serious with it, too. Just acting very, like, odd. Let me see if I can...
Yeah. I think I did try and look for that, but might have come up with the same block. But
Yeah, nobody really... He cried in a 4 a.m. Instagram video.
it's so depressing that no one caught that.
It is like it's in there somewhere. It's in some clip. Oh, you mean the Instagram video? Yeah. There's really nowhere that
I'm coming here because I'm scared about what I'll do. I mean, I didn't even know that. Definitely, people said on the sub that it happened, so I'll take their word for it. But
that's pretty nuts. You'd think that'd be somebody does who's like drugged out or something like that. But
the crazy thing is, there was a lot of people that said that it happened, that they saw it, but because Jim knows that it wasn't recorded, he patently denied that the stream even happened, or that he said that on the show the next day.
He's lucky someone didn't have it.
Yeah, because he must have just known that, like, no, I mean, how did you know that? But yeah, he just patently fucking just denied the whole thing. He must have just checked the sub, saw that, like, he probably did it and then realized, oh shit, that's gonna said it, and then realized that everyone in the comments is saying, how did this get missed? How did no one get this? And he was like, phew, thank God for that. And it was like, yep, time to go for full on denial.
Yeah, and I guess it kind of worked, but
yeah, he wriggled out of that one for sure.
Yeah. Here we go.
With them, I don't know, but they didn't. She never, she never met the person. She was talking to him a lot. So I'm like, how do I want to ruin things over this? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, do I want to take that fucking thing? I'm justified wrecking the I don't know if I want to ruin it or not. That's a real crossroads. The last couple days has been bad, very bad.
To well-adjusted individuals, such heartbreak can usually be resolved after a night or two of heavy alcohol-fueled enjoyment. But Jim Norton is a 30-year addict, having given up all intoxicants as an 18-year-old teenager, following a few years of light mischief.
Today's 26 years sober for me. February 1st, my anniversary. But I'm saying it's amazing that I'm in a creepy mood on a day that I should be.
Because those thoughts
celebrating.
Because I think all those thoughts come front and center when it's an anniversary, don't you think?
Yeah. You tend to want to sabotage it, but I won't. But
26 years.
Yeah.
Jim's adolescent dabbling of alcohol was seen as an affront to real addicts, especially given the history of narcotic abuse his fellow comedians had endured. Rich Voss was a former homeless crack addict who performed oral sex acts for money, whilst Artie Lang once drank bleach before stabbing himself in the stomach 8 times when under the influence. Jim would continue to equate his superfluous struggle to theirs.
I mean, I always said that about you. But I mean, as far as like staying off drugs and alcohol, you say there's other stuff, Rich.
This is one of the cringiest.
You guys have figured that part out, and to me, that is.
Look at how fucking drugged out he is as he's talking about staying off drugs. Like he just looks like a mess as he's.
I always said that about you.
You'd be kidding me,
As far as like staying off drugs and alcohol, you say there's other stuff, Rich, that you battle. You guys have figured that part out, and to me, that is. At 50, I haven't come close to it. But even 2 years, I wasn't doing the right. I was gambling, because and that might have been my worst vice for a while, gambling, because that led to everything else. I had,
go to a gym, walk a treadmill.
Honestly, yeah, that helped me a lot mentally. And we only figured it. It sounds corny, but you literally figure it out a day at a time.
Right.
I'm not figured out for the rest of my life. There's been